Hello students, welcome back to my channel. In the previous video, I have discussed about the structure of a complete flower. Today, you will learn about the male reproductive structure, that is stamen, microsporogenesis and development of male gametophyte. If you are new to my channel, then please watch the previous video and then only you can clear your concepts on today's topic. I shall put the link of the previous video on the description box. So let's begin. The male reproductive structure in a flower is known as stamen, as we have discussed in the earlier video. Now let's see its external structure. Stamen consists of two parts. Okay, this yellow colored part, lobe structure, it is known as anther. The anther is attached by a long thread-like structure, a long stalk known as filament. Okay. Now the anther may have one lobe or it may have two lobes. Okay, in case of anther having a single lobe or theca, we call it as monothecous. Mono means one. And the type of anther in which we find two lobe or two theca, we call it as dithecous anther. Out of the two, dithecous anther is the most common in angiosperm. So in all the study we will conduct in our later videos and even in today's video, we will consider only dithecous anther. Okay, now see this diagram. What do you see here? We find here a dithecous anther. Okay, these are the two lobes, and in between the lobes you see a connection. Okay, a connective tissue is present. It is a strip of sterile tissue. Okay, this tissue is known as connective tissue. Since it is sterile, it will not take part in the reproduction process. Okay, so the two lobes of a dithecous anther is joined by a sterile strip of tissue known as connective tissue. Okay, now the filament of the anther is attached to the thalamus. Okay, the end of the filament by which it is attached to the thalamus or the petal is known as proximal end, and the other end by which it attaches itself to the anther is known as distal end. Okay, so anther and filament together comprises a stamen. Clear? Now say this. There are four different types of attachment of anther to the filament. Okay, in type number 1, what happens? The filament is attached to the base of the anther. In that case, we say the anther to be basifixed. In type 2, the filament is attached throughout the length of the anther. You can see from here, throughout the length of the anther. In this case, we call the anther as adnate. In the third type, the anther is attached to the dorsal surface of the anther. Dorsal means the back side of the anther. Okay, at this point it is known as dorsifixed. You see the fourth type, which is known as versatile. What happens here? The filament is attached near the middle of the anther, enabling it to swing freely. You can see it is attached in such a way that it can swing freely in air. Okay, this is the point of attachment. It is known as versatile. Versatile anthers are characteristics of what? Wind pollinated flowers, which are also known as anemophilous flowers. So this was about the structure, external structure of stamen. Okay, arrangement of anther to the filament. Now let's move on to the internal structure of young anther. Now see, when we do a transverse section through the dithecous to the young dithecous anther, we find this type of structure. Here I have colored different parts so that it becomes clear for you to understand. Okay, this is the internal structure of a young dithecous anther. Okay, since it is dithecous, how many lobes we will get? We will get two lobes. This is lobe number 1 and this is lobe number 2. Both are joined by a sterile tissue known as connective. Okay, now see, in each lobe there are two microsporangia. These lobes contain two microsporangia. How can you identify the microsporangia? It is this brown colored circular thing is known as microsporangia. So one lobe contains 2 microsporangia and the other lobe also contains 2 microsporangia. So overall anther contains how many microsporangia? It contains 4 microsporangia. Okay, now say the space or the area between the microsporangium and the outer wall is known as anther wall. Okay, this anther wall contains 4 layers. You can understand it by clear differentiation of the colors. The 4 layers are named as epidermis, endothecium, middle layer and tapetum. Now let's see epidermis. Epidermis is the outermost flat, compactly arranged single layer. Okay, the green colored layer you can see in this diagram is the epidermis. How many green layers can you see here? 1, right? So it is single layer. How does the cell look like? These are flat. How are they arranged? Compactly arranged, tightly arranged. There is no intercellular spaces between them. Okay, now what is the function of this epidermis? Their function is the protection. Okay, now after the epidermis towards inside, which layer do you see? This yellow colored layer, right? This yellow colored layer is known as endothecium. How many yellow colored layer can you see? There is 1 layer, so it is single layered. How are the cells of this endothecium arranged? They are arranged in a radial pattern, that means radially arranged. And is there any intercellular space between them? No, that means the cells are also compactly arranged. In between the cells of endothecium there is callose thickening. Now callose is a type of polysaccharide. Okay, now after the endothecium, what do you see? A thick orange colored layer, right? How many sub layers do you find here? 2 to 3. Okay, so this whole orange colored layer is known as middle layer. Entire thing is known as middle layer. Middle layer contains 2 to 3 layers. Okay, how are the cells arranged? The cells are arranged loosely. They are not compactly or tightly arranged. They are arranged loosely, and the cells are parenchyma cells. Okay, now one last layer is remain outside the microsporangium. Which one? This purple colored layer. Okay, you can see here. This purple colored layer you can see. This is the tapetum. Okay, the tapetum is the innermost pyramid shaped cells. The cells are shaped as pyramid. Okay, pyramid shaped cells. They may be multinucleated. Okay, the cells may contain multiple nucleus or multiple nuclei, or they have a prominent large polyploid nucleus, or they may have a nucleus but the nucleus will be polyploid. That means there will be more than 2 paired sets of chromosome. That is known as polyploid. Okay, and the cytoplasm will be dense. Tapetum is very important from the examination point of view. We will learn this in a separate video where we will see the types and functions of tapetum. Okay, in today's video you simply learn about its structure. Okay, just the outline you have to know. So this was about the anther wall. Let's revise once again. This is the internal structure of a young Diathecus anther. Remember, young, not matured. Okay, how many lobes it contains? There will be 2 lobes. How many microsporangia are present? There are 4 microsporangia in total. What is the space between microsporangium and the outer wall known as? It is known as anther wall. How many layers the anther wall contain? It contains 4 layers. What are the layers from outside to inside? The layers are epidermis, endothecium, middle layer and tapetum. Okay, fine. Now let's see about the dehiscence of anther. Dehiscence of anther means liberation, okay, giving out. Now at maturity, the epidermis, endothecium and middle layers become fibrous throughout the anther wall except at the point of dehiscence. Now these three layers are very important during anther dehiscence. Which one? Epidermis, endothecium and middle layer. The green, yellow and orange layers are very important. What happens is that when the anther becomes matured, these three layers become fibrous, okay, they become fibrous throughout the anther except at the point of dehiscence. Now which is the point of dehiscence in this anther? This portion will be the point of dehiscence of an anther. Except these 2 points, these three layers become fibrous, okay. Therefore since it becomes fibrous, which part is non-fibrous? These two part will only be delicate, okay, and through this part the anther dehiscence take place, okay, clear? Okay, now we will see another concept, that is microsporogenesis. I will read out the definition, but the definition will be clear to you all after learning the various stages of this process, okay. After learning the stages, we'll again come back to this definition and then you can get the concept cleared. Okay, you see what is microsporogenesis? It is the formation of microspore from microspore mother cells by reductional division. Reductional divisions mean meiosis inside the microsporangia or pollen sac. Okay, now let's see the stages. What happens in stage 1? Each of the 4 circular structure present in the 2 lobes of a Dithecus anther is known as microsporangium. So stage 1 is talking about the young Dithecus anther that we have recently discussed. What it says? These 4 structures, circular structures, here brown colored, okay, these are known as microsporangia. Next it says the cells inside the microsporangium is known as sporogenous cell and each cell is diploid, okay, twice n, and the cells are compactly arranged. You see here, what do you find inside this round structures? Number of cells are present, right? These cells are known as sporogenous cell and they form a tissue called sporogenous tissue or sporogenous cell mass. Each of the cells inside this microsporangia or each of the sporogenous cell is twice n, that is diploid, okay. Next you see, each of them means each of the sporogenous cell are capable of producing microspores, okay. Each of them will produce microspores, okay, and later what will happen? These microspores will develop into pollen grains and these pollen grains are the structures which the anther dehisces, okay. Now let's move on to stage number 2. In stage number 2, you see I have indicated the different layers of anther wall by just drawing the colored outlines. I hope you can understand this. You see what happens here. Now the anther matures, okay, from the previous stage. That means what? The microsporangium will become bigger, it will become enlarged, okay. Now we will not call these round structures as microsporangium, we will call them as pollen sac, okay. When the microsporangium enlarges, the compactly arranged cells will separate from each other, right? There will be spaces created between them, right? Now each of the sporogenous cell, this brown colored cells, is modified into a microspore mother cell which is known as MMC. Earlier also they were twice n, sporogenous cell was twice n. Now sporogenous cell is modified into other type of cell known as microspore mother cell or MMC. Therefore this MMC will also be diploid. This is stage number 2. What happens in stage number 3? The MMC that we got, it will undergo one meiotic division. Now what happens as a result of meiosis? We will get 4 daughter cells, right? And what will be the chromosome number of the daughter cells? It will be half that of parent. So these are the 4 daughter cells we got from the parent cell. The parent cell had a chromosome number twice n. It was diploid. So what will be the chromosome number of this daughter cells? It will be haploid, n, in all the cases. Okay. So when MMC will undergo one meiotic division, it will form 4 structures. These structures are known as microspores. Okay. Now the microspores, the 4 microspores will remain together and they will form a structure known as microspore tetrad. Tetrad means 4. Okay. Now how this microspore tetrad is arranged? There may be 5 different types of microspore arrangement in a tetrad. Let's see in the diagram given here. In the first type, what happens? You see 1, 2, 3 microspores are arranged, okay, and the 4th will be behind this structure. This type of arrangement is known as tetrahedral type. What happens in the second type? In the second type, all the microspores will be arranged in equal distance from each other. It is known as isobilateral type. What happens in the third type? 2 will be arranged this way at the upper portion, the third one will be below, and the 4th one will be behind them. Okay, this is known as decussate type. Then the 4th one, you see, it forms a T-shaped pattern, right? 2 will be up and 2 will be linearly arranged downwards, so it will form a T-shaped structure. What happens in the 5th shaped structure? All the 4 microspores will be arranged in a linear pattern, therefore it is known as linear type. Now out of all the 5 types of arrangement, which is the most common? The tetrahedral type is the most common. So we will draw the tetrahedral tetrad arrangement only. Okay, see, earlier we got MMC in the earlier diagram. Now MMC will form microspore tetrads. So this diagram is showing microspore tetrads, these structures. Okay, here you see tetrahedral arrangement. Okay, now let's move on to the next stage, which is stage number 4. Now what will happen? The 4 microspores were together, right, in the tetrad. Now they will start separating from each other. So let us consider these are the 4 microspores in one tetrad. They have separated from each other. Likewise, all the tetrads will separate from each other in all the pollen sacs. Okay. Now let's move on to the other part, that is development of male gametophyte. But before that, I hope that the concept of microsporogenesis is clear, and now we can move on to the definition, okay, for your clear understanding. What happened till the last stage? We have got that there is a formation of haploid microspores. From which structure? From microspore mother cell, which was twice n. Where it was formed? It was formed within the microsporangium or pollen sac. Okay, so let's quickly move on to the definition. What does it say? It says that microsporogenesis is the formation of microspore from the microspore mother cells. Correct. By reductional division. Yes, reductional division means meiosis inside the microsporangia pollen sac. Clear to you all? Okay, I expect that it is clear to you all. Okay, now let's move on to the other concept of today's video, that is development of male gametophyte. Now what is a gametophyte? A gametophyte is a structure which produces gametes. What is a male gametophyte? Male gametophyte is a structure within which male gametes are produced. Yes. Now see, the male gametophyte in this case is the pollen grain. Okay, how does it forms? Let's see here. Now see, microspore possess their own plasma membrane. Okay, outside this, the tapetum means that purple colored layer. You remember in the anther wall, the purple colored layer, that tapetum will secrete two layers. That means, suppose this is the microspore. Okay, it is having its own plasma membrane, right? Outside this plasma membrane, the tapetum will secrete two layers. Okay, it will secrete two layers. The diagram is given below. The inner layer is known as intine. Okay, this is the diagram. You see, this is the microspore. Okay, two layers are developed. The inner one is known as intine. What is the characteristics of this layer? It is thin, okay, and made up of cellulose and pectate or pectin. This is the outer layer, you can see. Okay, this is the outer layer. The outer layer is named as exine. It is composed of sporopollenin, very important. Exine is composed of sporopollenin and intine is composed of cellulose and pectin. Now you see here, is the exine smooth? No, it is not smooth, and it is also not continuous or regular. Okay, so it has an irregular outer surface. Clear? The outer surface is irregular. It is not smooth. Now in between this exine, you see some thin walled area. These are the thin walled area, okay, seen in between the exine. These structures are known as germ pore. The thin walled area through which the pollen grain germinates is known as germ pore. Now these are the structures through which the male gametophyte, which will be formed inside the microspore, will germinate through a pollen tube. Okay, now see, there are so many changes in our microspore that we have studied. Okay, now we will not say this as a microspore. We will change its name. Its name is now changed to pollen grain. Okay, so this is the pollen grain, and the pollen grain will germinate through these germ pores via a pollen tube. Okay, now what happens? This pollen grain contains one haploid nucleus. Okay, that haploid nucleus will undergo one mitosis. As a result of mitosis, we get two cells. Okay, and the chromosome number of the two cells will be same as that of the parent. Since the parent was haploid, so the two daughter cells will also be haploid. Now the two cells will be different in size. The one which is bigger is known as tube cell, and the one which is smaller and spindle shaped is known as generative cell. Now what will this tube cell form? The tube cell will form the pollen tube, okay, for releasing the male gametes. And what will the generative cell do? The generative cell will again divide mitotically to form two daughter cells. Okay, and now these two daughter cells are again haploid. They are again haploid and they are named as male gametes. So what did we find? Male gametes are formed inside the pollen grain. Therefore, we can say that the pollen grain is the male gametophyte. Okay, for your easy understanding, I have written here, okay, why pollen grain is called as the male gametophyte. Since the generative cell develops into male gamete within the pollen grain, the letter means the pollen grain is called as the male gametophyte. So in the previous structure of microsporogenesis, what we got, the last stage had four separated microspores, right? The microspores of the tetrad separated, and that was the last stage of microsporogenesis. Now what happens? The microspores are modified, okay, and they now form pollen grain. So the structure will be like this. Okay, so this was about the development of male gametophyte, and I hope that it is clear to you all. Okay, and there are certain points that you should remember. Now you see, about 60% angiosperms will liberate pollen grains at the two cell stage. What is a two cell stage? The two cell stage is that the two cell stage is one tube cell and one generative cell. it means that at this stage only 60% of the angiosperm will form a pollen tube. Okay, they will fall upon the stigma. Okay, and then the generative cell will divide and form two gametes. Okay, and the remaining 40% will release it in a 3-cell stage, that is a 2 male gamete plus 1 tube cell. And remaining 40%, what they will do, they before reaching the stigma, the generative cell will divide and they will form 2 male gametes. So 2 male gametes and 1 tube cell will form 3 cell. Okay, and in this 3 cell condition they will form the pollen tube. Okay, or they liberate the pollen grains. The study of pollen is known as palynology. So these are some things you have to know, okay, besides the main concept. So this was all about the male reproductive structures as we have discussed today. In the next video we shall discuss about the female reproductive structure, the development of megasporangium, then the process of megasporogenesis, and the development of female gametophyte. Okay, so if you like the video, then please subscribe and let me know in the comment section below. Okay, and if you have doubts regarding the discussion, you can also share your doubts. And until then, goodbye. Thank you.